Welcome back to another episode of Red Hawk Media. Today we're taking a look at some color correction and a pretty slick effect called Day into Night. Here's what we've got. This is some footage shot with one of the many handy cams that we've got available for my class. And the problem with these handy cams is they're not very good in low light. As you take a look at the clip here, this is with the lights on and the gain set at basically 0 and the brightness set at like the default setting. And that's about all we've got control with in these cameras here. But you can see it's not an overly bright clip, but it's something that we can work with here. If you take a look at the next clip, this is with the lights off, and this is the mistake that we frequently make, thinking that we need to shoot in complete darkness for nighttime shots. And that's not really the case because we lose all of our detail, and you can see complete blackness here, and it doesn't work. Now, for shots like this with screens, it's pretty slick, shows a lot of detail, they're pretty well lit and show up in the right way. So let's go ahead and make some use of this here. The last clip we're going to go ahead and just forget about and go back to this first clip that's lit. We got some details. And let's start with this clip right here. And we're going to turn this into an actual nighttime shot with some different kind of moods to it or different styling. So let's get started. We're going to bring up our effects. And the first one that we're going to drag on is called Day into Night. And they're usually alphabetized in here. So if you go in, and go back to all for my video effects here. And then we'll switch that up. And where is it here? There it is. Day into Night. Drag that on there. Now this is kind of a starting point for us. It gets us the basics. You can see it's kind of plain Jane. There's not a whole lot to it. And there's still a lot of things that are flawed with this shot. For instance, if we take a look at the colors are still pretty vibrant for a nighttime shot, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense here because you lose a lot of the color saturation in a nighttime shot. So let's go ahead and start working on that part next. What I want to do is I want to add on a color adjustment or color correction. So in the actual color area, in the adjustments, if you're not seeing this, go ahead and click on the slider so that that's up there. And then we go to correction. And this will be our first correction. And the first thing that we're going to do is mess around with the exposure to get that set up the way that we like. You want a little bit of detail in there. So you can't obviously take it up too much, but we're only going to take it down just a little bit here. And the midtones, we want a little bit more of those so we can see exactly what's going in the main part of the shot. And then the highlights, we're going to drag those to our liking here. So move that around, get that all set up. If I go too low on the shadows, I'm going to lose everything here. Okay, and it depends on how much you need to see in your particular shot. But I get that exposure set. Now the next thing I'm going to adjust is the saturation. Okay, and for the saturation, I'm going to grab the main slider. I'm going to kind of drag that down. Now as I scrub through the clip here on some of those shots where there was a lot of color in there, now you can see most of the color is gone. Okay, only that orange is really showing up, and that's about right for what we would see in the shot. You can see it's already starting to look a whole lot better like an actual nighttime shot. The lights are kind of a dead giveaway up here, but we're going to fix that with the letterbox in a little bit here. Okay, so I've got that. I think that's a little too dark. So we're going to bring up the shadows a little bit more there so we can see at least the tabletops. Now from here, this is where we can start getting the stylizing going here, and depending on what kind of film you're going for, if you want to go paranormal, you take the universal color bar here and you can slide that up and bring in a little bit more green. Okay, so I've got that. That's a pretty slick effect there. It gives you a little bit of that paranormal. If I go a little bit less and desaturate it more, I'd have the matrix kind of effect. Or what I can do is I can get the classic nighttime feel where we got a lot of blue in there. Now that's just my universal slider. That's kind of affecting everything at once. If I want to be a little bit more selective here and bring in some more shadows, more blues in the shadows, some teal into the highlights, and then some yellow, into the midtones, and then some yellow into the midtones here. Now I'm starting to create a little bit different feel here. And again, this is all to your liking, according to what you're interested in seeing. Get a little bit more blue in there. And there we have it. Now we've got a perfectly good nighttime shot. Again, I said that the lights are kind of giving it away here, that this classroom is pretty well lit. So let's go ahead and take care of that. This is just a preference thing, and everybody might do this a little bit differently, but under Stylize, you've got the letterbox feature. And the letterbox feature is actually pretty slick because it'll bring on those nice black bars. Now, to begin with, you can see they're really small, and they don't really show up much. In fact, it looks more like a cropping error than anything as I look at this. So we're going to adjust the ratio of the bars. And instead of the 1851, we're going to go with the 2351 here and bring those in. Now, beauty of this is those lights are still showing up here, still getting away that my shot's not very well lined up here. But I can take the offset and I can drag that up to position the shot in here. Got to be careful how much you go here, because you'll start to lose parts of your shot. And you really should plan this when you are shooting for the letterbox, so that when the talent gets in front of the camera, you're not losing them too. Now we got a whole different feel here. We got the lights right in that spot there. I can take the offset up just a pinch more right there. And now we have no lights in the shot. It's just kind of ghostly lit here. And you get the feeling for all this is much better here. And the nice part is it's not all, it doesn't have all that noise in it. And it's not all pixely in the dark areas because of our crummy cameras. And it's just a good workaround for what we're doing here. Okay, so that's a quick tutorial on how we can take a daytime shot and turn it into night, and give it some different feels as well. So go ahead and give that a try and see what you can come up with. This has been another episode of Red Hawk Media.